anyone gets triggered, then they can do privately chat, and we could just do a grounding. I can't do counseling per se, but
Okay,
just a
that's
grounding
cool.
activity.
Cool. Do we want to do the grounding activity at the beginning or at the end?
I could do it in the beginning, but I was saying even person, like if someone personally needs
Gotcha.
to meet with me,
Gotcha.
we
Gotcha.
could do that. Because I didn't have one prepared for the beginning.
Okay, no, that's fine. I got my grounding ahead of time. I got my incense going, and
Okay.
my aromatherapy, some cedar wood, some
Right. Good stuff.
frankincense.
All that good stuff.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Irene.
All right, cool. I should be able to share though. All right. It won't let me share on Facebook, but that's okay. I don't think the world needs to see me.
You can pick either YouTube or Facebook, right?
Well, I don't have those privileges. That's why.
Oh, okay.
But
Is
cool.
this live on the YouTube Chai or the YouTube like Fathers and Families?
I don't think it's live anywhere. I think. Oh, actually, it's live on YouTube. Wow. Cool. So I'm on YouTube. That's fun. All right, cool. So I guess we'll get started then. All right. How's everybody doing today? Good? Cool. All right. So welcome to my virtual workshop. I haven't done a workshop like this since my grad year, so this will be very interesting. But this is basically, if you signed up for this workshop, it's probably for two reasons, right? One, you have no experience in designing whatsoever. You want to learn how to design, but don't have the time to learn the software for designing, or you're a designer yourself and would like a simple and basic way to improve your design skills without having to be intimidated by the Adobe field of work, right? So then before we get started, I just want to put some ground rules. So if you have any questions, just put it in the chat, so I don't have to keep stopping all the time. And then there will be time for more questions if anybody has any doubts or any concerns or anything that I might have missed or they want to know. And then thirdly, we have Veronica on here. So she works for the STRC, which is basically the Stockton Trauma Recovery Center. It's one of 12 in the state and one of 22. And they basically provide free counseling and mental health services that are culturally relevant. So if anybody wants to sign up or wants to step aside for a minute, if they get triggered or anything, she'll do the grounding with y'all, and she'll be there to help. She's awesome. She's really nice. I love her. And you'll love her too. So, if you have at any time you get triggered by, anything that I say or show, I don't think it'll be a problem, but you never know, right? So just, tap her on the chat and she should ground you. She should be able to do that. Welcome, Celine, another of my colleagues.
Hey, Leo. Glad to be here.
One of my Padawans, right? So, all right, with that being said, I'm also going to put the information for STRC if anybody would just like to sign up after this workshop. So there's the address if you live in Stockton, the phone number for the office. There's also another location they have at Conway. So there's the address and the phone number if you would like to set up counseling or any mental health services. There's the information. So with that being said, I'm gonna get my PowerPoint here. So cool. All right. So as I mentioned earlier, if you signed up for this workshop, it's probably because you have either no time to learn the design field of work. Perhaps you don't want to be a designer, but you just want to learn how to do basic things like superimpose or, make your flyer look pretty, or, build a logo or brand for yourself. And so I've teamed up with Chai. So I want to give big shout outs to Alicia, Poppy, Davina, and Natalie for giving me the space. So Chai is the Community or Creative Healing Arts Initiative. And they're pretty new, but they seem to be growing really fast. They teamed up with the organization that I work for, Fathers and Families of San Joaquin, to provide basically workshops, any other kind of resources having to do with art as a way to heal, right? So you utilize art and creativity to not only heal yourself, but heal the community that you're in, right? So great resources. Follow them on Instagram at Stockton Chai. And yep, to sign up for other workshops, you can head on over there. But anyways, so this is the virtual workshop number 2, flyer and brand design via Canva. So let's see. All right, cool. So just a little bit about me before I get started. I was born in Mexico, was raised in Oakland. Spent most of my teenage and adult years in Stockton, Monterey Bay, and San Francisco. And I was mainly just wandering around because, I was just being an academic outlaw, roaming around. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I felt that academia was a safe route for me to just get gamed up on things that I had interest in, right? I didn't go into academia to learn design by any means. I've only gone into design the last 4 years. So my main jam is basically studying humanities, which is the study of the human story. And that story can be told through literature, linguistics, religion, music, history, art history. I mean, the list goes on, but it encompasses different methodologies and different subject on how to tell that story, right? So today we're going to learn an aspect of the humanities, which is design, because I think design is also a way of telling a story, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be capitalist based. You can do design for your own creative endeavors. You can use design as a way to heal, as a way to unwind. Like I said, I don't consider myself a designer. I mean, I think recently I might have put that on my Instagram because I was trying to flex something that I probably am not. but it's I think by nature we design, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be something digital, but we design things, right? We live in a world of design. If you look around us, everything is designed. Me being in front of this computer was designed for me to communicate this, right? The language that you read on the screen is a form of design, right? So design is everywhere, right? If I put on these glasses, I can thank Ray-Ban for the design, right? Because I can see better. But there's design everywhere, right? And so with that being said, we could also argue that design is language, right? Language comes in many forms. And so I think that we live in a world of design. And so it would be a disservice for us to not understand how design works in the context of, either branding, or if you're a musician, or if you want to start a business, or if you just want to have fun, right? You just want to flex on people like, hey, like, I'm not going to tell you I did this on Canva, but, it looks cool, doesn't it? So, yeah. And then, like I said, my main jam is humanities. I've done my degrees in communication studies, art history, liberal arts and sciences, humanities, creative writing and social action, audio engineering, and my master's in humanities. So so I'm not a designer by any means, right? So, but I think that like I've mentioned, when you're in academia, you're also reading other people's designs, either through their thesis or through the study of, right? So, and then I'm currently now working at Fathers and Families of San Joaquin as a communications director. Follow us on Instagram or Facebook at FFSJ Stockton. A lot of my work there encompasses either press releases, or doing flyers, or doing logos, or doing branding, or anything having to do with communications, right? And so I think my interest grew even stronger when I came into FFSJ, because when I started, I didn't know anything about Adobe. I wasn't like a pro at it. I knew like basic things, right? And I'm still not a pro at it, but I had to learn how to do quick turnaround projects, right? Like, oh, we need a flyer by next week. And if you've ever worked in the nonprofit field, you'll learn that things are sometimes very disorganized or very last second. So I had to find a medium where I could flip flyers or logos or things that they needed right away. And I know that, not having a wide understanding of like where things were at Adobe and Illustrator or Photoshop, I was like, what am I going to do? Right. So I went to a California endowment training when, as soon like a month after I had just started, and I learned about Canva and how a lot of nonprofits and just, people who didn't have advanced graphic design skills were using that software to basically do flyers, do logos, I signed up for it. I convinced the agency to do a pro version, to sign up for a pro version. So I started using it, and I started getting better and better at it. And now it's just part of my design ritual now, where if I need something really quick, I'll combine something I do on Adobe or something I do on like Cinema 4D, and I'll load up Canva. If I just want to do like a quick resizing or a quick like layering and not have to like be all over the place on my desktop. You can use your phone as well. I do a lot of my designs on my phone if I just want to do something quickly. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. And then, okay. So the question you might be asking yourself, why bother with branding or designing? I thought that way for many years, right? I kind of just alluded it to being something like, oh, that's capitalistic, but the thing is, I don't know if you've ever heard of ad busting, or, design doesn't necessarily have to be for profit. You can sometimes flip things upside down. Ad busting is a method of basically flipping a capitalist logo and retelling that story, right? So there's different avenues you can take for designing and branding and that sort of thing. But I think just for this workshop, branding makes a memorable impression, right? How many of y'all know what the McDonald's logo looks like, right? Or the FedEx logo, or even the Obey logo, right? You recognize it because it's left an impression. It's so embedded in our culture that you could take a logo test on your phone and recognize many of those logos, right? The Pepsi logo, the Coca-Cola, Surge, right? The Pokemon logo, right? So it leaves a very memorable impression, and so it allows your customers to know what to expect from an organization or a company. I know when I look at an Amazon logo, I know that I can pretty much order anything, right? Even my dignity, I can get it on 2-day package, right? Get it delivered. You can, so it leaves an impression, right? So then you might ask, like, well, what exactly is branding identity, right? So it's a all-encompassing sort of marketing ploy or a creative. I'm gonna call it a creative design or a creative strategy plan, where it encompasses logo, the colors that you choose, design style, uniforms, business cards, photography, packaging, right? One of the things that comes to mind is, why is it important? Well, if you watch sports or if you like sports, I'm not a big sports fan, but you'll see a lot of fanatics wearing certain colors or certain T-shirts with numbers representing like, a player or something. So it also creates a sense of pride, right? But I think, like I've mentioned earlier, design is everywhere. So I think we spend most of our time just going about our day, not really paying attention to how those things impact us, right? But it's basically all those things that I just mentioned. And there's also further importance of branding, which improves recognition, it creates trust, it inspires employees or customers, generates new customers or participants, and it creates pride. So I know that if I go to Chinatown and I get one of those like highlighter yellow Sonic the Hedgehog backpacks, I know it's not legit, but it's still something. It's still a design, right? I'm still gonna rock it, right? And then I'm gonna get the Target and get the real Sonic the Hedgehog back, right? So it's like, there's no wrong or right way of designing. I think it's really just left to the person who wants to consume it or how they want to consume it, right? But I think all those things that I've listed, you just look around you and you'll see that that's the reason why you keep going back to Target or you go to Popeyes, or you go. So it creates an impression, right? And so, and in the context of the organization that I work for, when people look at the FFSJ logo, they know that they can get services there. They know what that's associated with, right? They know that they can get counseling, if they can get resources for formerly incarcerated, that they can get, they can join a workshop for youth, or they might even recognize the Chai logo with FFSJ, and they know that it's sort of, there's a healing component to it, right? So, yeah. So, and then the last thing that you want to ask yourself before you want to, start a brand or a logo for yourself is, what mission or story are you trying to, are you telling people through your branding? What is your ultimate goal? Is it to get more folks to come to your show? Or are you going to go to Kinko's after you make your flyer? And, is the logo going to lure folks in, right? Are you trying to sell? Are you trying to fundraise, right? Is it Given Tuesday? Are you going to stamp that Given Tuesday logo on there to get more funding, or what is the story of your branding? Why is it important for people to recognize you or your identity, right? And I misspelled that, so probably going to fix that later because it bothers me. But moving on here, so we have three different. I mean, these are the things that you just right off the bat want to know the differences in, right? So brand identity and logo is very different, although they're all encompassing. It's three different things that sort of work in symbiosis, right? So the brand or a branding refers to the perceived image and subsequent emotional response to a company, organization, products, or services, right? I know when I see that Pokemon yellow, I know the company, I know what I'm getting into, right? I know, I know that when I look at an Apple product or a Samsung, I know the quality of that image, right? So it has all these like different influences on you, right? Regardless if you're into Apple or not, or if you prefer Gatorade to Powerade, people have their own individualistic emotional response to a company, right? And that's, of course, subjective, right? Identity describes the visual devices used to represent the company or organization. Identity systems is a visual component, basically the packaging that is paired with the style guidelines, the framework to ensure that the branding and the colors and all that is cohesive and consistent, right? And I'll use the sports example as well. Sometimes you'll see like sports teams update their colors or their uniforms, right? But they tend to stay cohesive and consistent throughout, right? So you'll see like, or box of cereal, right? Like Captain Crunch looks different, right? It's just they just update those imagery, right, to stay cohesive and consistent, right? They'll stick to the same font or the same colors, right? And then the logo is basically the central visual element that helps customers or participants discover or remember a company's brand. And that can be in the form of an icon or a symbol or a logotype or a combination of the two. For my organization, for Chai, it combines the logotype and the icon. So this is some of the logos that I've built. So when I got hired, I was given this style guide. So this style guide basically said, look, these are the dimensions of the logo. This is how it should look like. This is the type of font that you should use. These are the colors that you should always, utilize, or a variation of these colors. And here's other alternative, logo versions that you could use, black and white, or with a black background. And then it also tells you what not to do with the logo, right? So on the left side, you can see that, it doesn't look good if you stretch it. Don't change the fonts of the logo. Make sure that your colors aren't disappearing or clashing with one another, right? So a lot of the companies that you work for, and get in the field of communications or design, you'll most likely get a style guide to sort of help you understand the rules of how that organization or company that you work for needs to be presented, right? So I've been with the agency now, I'm going on my third year, and in the last 2 years, I've managed to, either collaborate or create logos for each department. The one over here that says Information Justice was created by Celine, and she had to go through the same process as well. So I'm very proud of that. But so if you look at for example, the Campo, me and Celine spent hours doing this, and this was for a undocumented fund that we needed to create a logo for. It was an UndocuFund program that we started at the agency, and we needed something to represent the field workers or the essential workers, right? But also stay within the sort of relevant cultural aspect of it, right? And we decided to make it a stamp, right? And if you see it, if you look at the man, he's instead of throwing seeds, he's throwing butterflies, because the butterfly is a symbol of the migrant. Migrants often go up and down California to find new work. So, you know, everything is intentional when we do these logos. The nopal is a sense of pride, right? Resistance, sort of enduring, right? The cactus is very enduring. So we put that in there. So yeah, family strengthening, right? And as you can see, the colors are sort of the same, right? It's, you have red, yellow, black, gray, you know, right? And in all these logos, you see the sort of same color pattern, right? With the exception of like a campo and, you know, the health justice there. But it's the colors, the reason why I use the white, red, black, and yellow, it's because it's the Native American symbol for the 4 directions: north, west, east, and south, right? And so our agency is really based on indigenous practices and culture-rooted healing, right? And so I tend to incorporate those colors into the logos because it'll redirect you back to what the organization is about. And it's a psychological game where you look at it and you automatically know it's like, oh, that's the 4 directions. Oh yeah, that's FFSJ, right? And so I try to incorporate, I always go back to the style guide if I find myself doubting whether I can use the same font. Sometimes you can get away with certain fonts, right? Like the Youth and Racial Justice is not necessarily Gil Sans, but here's something important to note, that when you're using fonts, if you're going to use feet underneath the logo, and what I mean by feet is if you look at the Bakersfield logo on the style guide, the feet are basically the bottom ends that go up and the top ends that go down, right? Those are called feet in fonts. Usually, if you're going to use that, keep it consistent all the way through. When you look at the Gil Sans, you'll notice that they're just bold. They don't have like the feet that go up. It's just, you know, straight lines. So that's something to note when you're doing a logo or you're doing like branding, is to keep the font consistent in the same family type. So yeah, all right. So 5 principles of effective logo design. Make sure it's simple, make sure it's memorable, make sure it's timeless, versatile, and appropriate, right? These are some logos that I've either created or have collaborated on designing, right? So so this one on the left here was for a book cover that I was working on. So I wanted to create a logo as the cover, right? And it's really simple. I mean, with the exception of the one all the way on the right with the hand, it's memorable. It may not be simple, but you kind of want to hit on, like, I would say 3 of the 5 to make sure that you have an effective logo. The logo in the middle, for example, is very simple as well. It's basically my name, right, in the box. You have the L, you have the E, that's the squiggly, and you have the O, and you also have an E with the line going through the middle. So it just says Leo over and over again. So it's almost like I got inspired by the Fibonacci theory, where you have a constant fractal within the logo. And I use that now for my design, or I use that for like when I do creative writing projects, because I don't want to put my name, you know. I like to put Easter eggs and things, right? So as a designer, you sort of think about that as well. I'm really big on putting Easter eggs in anything that I do, whether it be like poetry or logo or design. So that's something, this is just a little something that I like to put my own touch to, right? So think about that when you're doing your brand. Whether do you want something that's like, you know, really direct and transparent, or do you want something like a little more mysterious, hidden, you know, for people to like, you know, look at it one day and be like, ah, that I didn't know that it said that, you know. That's kind of like the FedEx logo, right? When you look at the FedEx, it took me years to realize that the FedEx has an arrow, you know, so it's sort of like that, you know. And then the logo at the very end with the hand, that was originally made for a music project that I was working on, and so that I was trying to go by the name of Knight of Wands. And so I thought it would be cool to just put a hand with incense going through it. I don't know. It looks kind of cool. So, but it's not something simple. I just wanted to make something more memorable and timeless. But these logos don't necessarily have to be used just for music or just for design, or you can have a multiple use for them. And that's kind of the type of logos that I like to use, is multi-purpose, versatile, right? So think about that too. There's some logos that can only be for a specific product, but if you make a logo that's very minimal and versatile, you can use it across different kinds of projects. You don't necessarily have to be just Coca-Cola or a drinking product or a food product. So okay. Do I need to know design software? The answer is yes and no. It depends on what you're doing, right? If your project is very small and you have a fairly good idea of what you want to achieve, then all you really need is a user-friendly software like Canva, right? Like I said, you don't need to be like an expert in Adobe. You don't need to be like a hot shot in like every software, but the reason why I did this workshop was to show people that you can create really cool looking stuff and professional looking stuff without having to, take a course on Adobe or pay, a subscription every month for that, so some of the advice that I tell people before they get into design or while they're designing is practice. Learn a tool, right? Any tool. It doesn't matter if it's Adobe or if it's Canva for today or if it's something on your phone. Just learn a tool, any tool. Read tutorials, copy something. A lot of people are afraid of copying things because they're so obsessed to in being unique. But let me tell you something, that it's no such thing as being unique in America. So feel free to copy something. I think Picasso said the greats, what is it? Good artists copy other artworks, great artists steal other artworks, right? So you wanna don't be afraid to like copy something and redesign. And designing is all about making things better. So at some point you're gonna have to copy something. I know that the logos that I've done have come from somewhere. I wasn't just born with like, oh, these are just random ideas out of nowhere. Like I wasn't born with like, learning all these archetypes of design, right? I had to come from somewhere. Observe, open your eyes to the world of design. It's literally everywhere, right? I look around my room and it's like vinyl, right? PlayStation, manga, design, right? My guitar, my mics, even my cat is by design, right? So I got her from PetSmart, so that's a design too. Focus on the visuals. Don't worry that your design, don't worry that the design that you're proud of today will look terrible to you in a week or so. I have a lot of stuff that I've designed that I'm just like, what the heck was I thinking? What is that? Like, what is that? Like, I go through so many designs where I do like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drafts. And I'll ask somebody that, that I trust. I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? Do you think I should make it this color? Should I move it this way? Like, but I used to be so afraid of doing that because I was so set on like getting it right the first time. But like I've mentioned, design is all about trial and error. You're not designing to perfect something. You're designing to make something better or build on something better. It's kind of like academia. When you write an argument, it's not going to be perfect. It's not like you're supposed to build on other arguments that might be flawed or arguments that you may agree on, but you have something to add to it, right? That's how design is as well. Design is very much based on either adding to something that is already good or remaking something to make it better, right? But it's never perfect. And so you have to be okay with imperfection, because in imperfection, you find beautiful things. You don't find it in things that are perfect. You just never are, And so the last thing I would say is ask for feedback. Over time, you'll learn that critiques are all about making something better, like I've mentioned. Ask for honesty. If you're just starting, it's going to hurt at first, or if you have a thick skin, then it may not. But remember that you're not your design. It doesn't make you. People are not going to judge you on your design. Like, dang, did you look at Leo's design? He's hella mean. Or look at Leo's design. He's, I don't want to talk to that guy anymore because his design sucks. So just keep in mind that you're not your design. So always be open to feedback. So why Canva, right? Well, it's free. It was actually created in Australia. and it was created for the purposes of serving people who had an interest in design, but didn't know how to design. And so it enables you to create quickly and easily. Like I said, if you have no graphic design skills, you'll be up and running quickly. There's a lot of templates that you can work with, right? You can create a large variety of engaging content that will attract targeted prospects, you know, and so you can do like a magazine, you can do, you know, a Zoom background like the one I have behind me. I did that on Canva, you know. You can do flyers, logos, you know, anything that you can think of, you have it already laid out for you, right? You don't even have to figure out the dimensions of the size because they already have those blank templates for you already. So if you wanted to create a flyer and didn't know the size of the flyer, you can just simply type into the search bar, hey, flyer, 8.5 inches by 11 inches, right? Or logo, 500 pixels by 500 pixels, right? It's already laid out for you. It allows you to communicate across multiple platforms, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or for your own personal like endeavors. It's very consistent and it's quality branding. So, you know, that's another benefit to it. And it also amps up your content, right? You can impress your clients or, you know, participants, you know, and just not tell them that you used Canva and tell them that you used Adobe when you when you didn't. So, but the background that I have is like, you know, sometimes I'll have random backgrounds and they'll be like, oh, how'd you do that? And, you know, I'll just tell them like, hey, you can just do it on Canva. Like, you know, simply just go on there and type in Zoom background and they have it in there already. They have a bunch of templates. I like this one because, you know, it's relevant to what we're going through. So, but I like to be silly with Canva. You know, it allows you to be silly. It allows your inner child to come out. So that's why I like Canva. You know, Adobe is so serious and professional sometimes that, you know, you can get lost in the sauce there. So here's some of the projects that I've done in Canva. This is all in Canva. I have not touched Adobe at all for these. So on the left side, you'll see the Welcome Home Resource fair that I did for, it's an event that we had, right? And that's a flyer. And you know, as you can see, all these elements that you see there, with the exception of the logos, the FFSJ logo, everything else was found within Canva, like all those things, right? The font that I used, that squiggly font, you can also, that's another benefit to Canva too. You can upload your own fonts. You don't have to use just the factory fonts that you find in the Canva software, but you can upload your own fonts if you wanted something more, you know, your own style or whatever. In the middle, you see the magazine cover that I did for the Now magazine, Not on Our Watch. This is a magazine that we're creating at FFSJ with our youth. I didn't know how to make a magazine cover. This is the first magazine cover I've ever done in my life. I looked at a magazine cover and I said, you know what, I'm going to copy that, but I'm going to move some things around. And that's going back to what I was saying about like, don't be afraid of copying. Don't be afraid of like, just trying new things. I even put like a fake barcode at the bottom, you know, left there. So that was a magazine cover that I created with the help of Celine, who did the photography. And then on the right side, it's a one-pager resource. So I do these for like each department. Basically, like each department has a one-pager where it explains what the department is about, who you can contact, where to follow us on social media, like, you know, which manager to the email, website, logo, you know, and then of course the agency logo at the top. And as you see, it follows sort of a color palette and within the same theme, right? So this is youth and racial justice. So it's going to have photos of youth. It's going to have the mission and vision. We have a big grant this year that's Growing Roses from Concrete. So I decided to incorporate that in the flyer or in the one pager. And I update these every year based on like, you know, like what I want to try, and it keeps me sharp, right? So I do these like every year just to keep myself sharp and keep myself like learning something new when I'm doing these things. And then here are some other projects that I've done in collaboration or within Canva, right? So here I've done, I just uploaded this one this morning. I don't know what the heck I was doing, but I did something there that I thought was cool. The second one from the top, I did that fully on Canva. And as you can see, you can incorporate imagery or different components into your image that makes it, pop out or, unique. And some of it is ugly, but I love it. So don't be afraid of creating ugly art. I've gotten a lot of my followers through ugly art. So this is some of the things that I've managed to do through Canva. And then finally, if anybody has, I don't know why I did that. Anyways, let me go back. Sorry about that. Anyway, so can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yeah, we can
Okay,
see.
cool. So this is my last slide here, but if anybody has questions, feel free to hit my lineup. Here's my phone number, my email, website to the place that I work at. If you want to see some of the services or some of the design work that we put out on the website, because we also design the website. We have my Instagram down there, Surrendered. Then my photo Instagram, and get into photography too. Stockton Chai, make sure to follow them for all the workshops, stay up to date with that. And then FFSJ, of course, the agency that I work for. But yeah. And then so the next segment that we're going to go into is the overview for the Canva. Let me look at the messages here. Okay, cool. All right, so now I'm going to share the, well, before I get started, does anyone have any questions? Is anyone triggered? No, everyone's good? Okay, cool.
On my end, I'm definitely not triggered, but really just appreciate you putting all that input, because I think if somebody was to watch this and want to be a part of communications or just try to do that type of work, it's really actually advice that I wish somebody told me before I started doing work in communications. So thank you.
So let me ask you this, Selena, as a communications design person now, what has been like the hardest thing to learn from a design point of view, and what's something that you've learned? Celine's also a graphic designer.
To be real with you, I'm not gonna lie, like before I was a go hard like Adobe type of person, because I learned that in school that if you don't use Adobe, like it's almost like you're not a real designer. So when I started basically working with Leo, he kind of opened up that new world to me where he's like, use Canva. And it took me a while to adapt to it and to adapt to that idea. Like, hey, like it's okay to use like something outside of Adobe, because realistically, not everybody can afford Adobe. The subscription is super expensive. I actually learned how to do graphic design using GIMP from way back in the day. So like GIMP is still like, it's an alternate thing that you can use outside of Adobe too. So that's another program as well. And I really, to be honest with you, it showed me that I didn't really need Adobe to be a good designer. I think you can be a good designer. It's really, I don't know, it's almost like photography. Like it's not the camera that you use, it's how you kind of use your equipment. Really, it's really up to how good you really are and how bad you really want to be good at whatever that you're doing. That's my personal thing that I believe now, because Canva really showed me that I didn't need Adobe to be a good designer. I already had all those concepts already. As long as you know what you want. For me, to be honest with you, I think a lot of traditional designers, they like draft out a lot of things. I'm the type of person that I work better while on under pressure. So I kind of like to just go on there and just kind of do my own thing. So what Leo said, you just kind of mess around with things, and then you kind of, it's almost like you have to have your own rhythm. So yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing that, Celine. I think, I mean, I can attest to a lot of that. I think it's an ongoing practice, right? You can never perfect design, but you can always make it better or improve it, right? So, all right, with that being said, I think one of the biggest issues that people have starting off with design, I know for me, I can speak for myself, is not knowing where things were at, right? So you open the software up, and you're just like, where the heck is all this stuff? How do I make like the functionality, right? And like the UI or user interface sometimes can be intimidating, right? But with Canva, everything is really straightforward. It can be intimidating if you've never seen Canva before, but I guarantee you it's like really super simple to like find things. Once you know where they're at, you can start utilizing those tools. And the cool thing about Canva is that once you understand those functions within Canva, the same theory can be applied to Adobe, right? Like when they say send an image backwards, it means to put an image behind an image, right? So, and I'll show you here real quick. So can everybody see this? Okay, so so I'm going to go into like just an overview real quick. I'm not going to go into the activity yet because I want everybody to know where things are at before they get started in this activity, right? So when you log in, and I hope everybody signed up for Canva prior. When you log in, you're going to see this. You're going to see on this side, you know, recommendations for you. You're going to see all the designs that you've made. You can even share projects with other people on your team. You can create your own brand kit. You can plan out your content. You can have multiple folders for different things. As you can see, I'm not very organized. I just kind of put everything like a sandwich just together. Like, so I try. And then you have trash, right? I spend a lot of time there too. I put a lot of things that I don't like in there. So anyway, so here and then, so that's your left side, right? You can upload, you can, you know, also purchase, and then here is your account, right? And so I'm using FFSJs as an example. Up here, you have your recommendations, right? Up here, you don't really need to worry about this unless you want something really quick. You know, up here, you'll see like the templates for Instagram story. Like you said, it's already laid out. What's the purpose of what you want to do? Do you want to do a social media post? It's already, the dimensions are already laid out. Is it something personal? Are you making a card? You know, am I writing a letter to Jared? Do I need to, you know, go to postcard? What, am I making a shirt next week because my boss forgot to tell me that there's a shirt that needs to be designed next week? I'm going to go to the t-shirt, right? Business, am I doing a logo or website or a business card? Marketing and so on, right? And so then the features here, you have like, you know, the cool thing about Canva is that it'll provide you with stock photos and stock graphics already built into it. So you don't have to like get out of the browser and go to a different website or and search for all these things, right? And so here you'll find like icons that are already in there, apps like, you know, if you're making like an app design for a phone, you have that, print products, all that good stuff, right? And so here is just like to learn more. You know, if in case my workshop sucks, you can continue on and and learn more. So yeah, so let's say I'm starting a business. I'm gonna sell cat food, and I need a logo. I'm gonna sell cat food. Like that's what I'm gonna do. Like it's done. There's nothing you can say to me. I'm selling cat food. So I'm gonna go to the logo, right? So you would click a logo, right? And so when you come in here, you'll see that it's already laid out for you. It's already laid out for you. The dimensions are here. And then you have, hold on. On the left side, you'll be working mainly from this side. So the left side is basically different components of your design that you're gonna put into this canvas here, right? It's a blank canvas. If you have no ideas, let's say, oh, I don't know what to think of. I don't know what logo I should use to sell cat food. You would go over here and you would have different templates to get you started, to get you creative, right? And that would be under templates, as you can see here, you know? So you have like Facebook Shops logo, you have gaming logos, badge logos, art design, right? But I don't see animals, I don't see cat. So let me find an animal template, right? They may not have animals. I might be screwed, right? So let me type in cat, because I'm saying, oh, look, I have some cat logos. I can sell cat food now, right? So you can simply just click that, and it'll appear already right there. And you can do various things here, right? But before I go to that, I want to continue on with the left side and what those things do, right? So from here, you have uploads. And uploads, you can upload images, videos, and audio. So I spend a lot of time here uploading like, organization photos, if I'm creating a flyer, I have logos from other organizations, if I'm collaborating with them, just a little bit of everything, right? So this is sort of like your library of like images that you may not be able to find within Canva, but you can upload them. And that's a feature that can be used in the free version of Canva as well. So that's a benefit. You can upload, like I said, videos if you want to make like a GIF or like a quick like Facebook, like, 1-minute video, you can upload them and, design those. Audio as well. If you wanted to, you have a SoundCloud and you want to make a post 1080 by 1080, you put your audio, you upload it there. And so it has a multi-purpose, right? But this is your uploads area here where you're going to upload the imagery that you want. That's if you want it very personalized, right? Here is the photos, the bank of the photos. These are all stock photos from Canva, right? And so you have like the trending, right? You have recently used thing. If you've used a stock photo recently, it'll appear here. Photos that are trending right now. Thanksgiving, there's a lot of Thanksgiving imagery, so there's going to be a lot of that. Random baby cheering with a dog. These are different trends, right? So you can find pretty much any kind of purpose of photo that you may need, right? Like, so let's say you don't have time to be scrolling through that. It's like I gotta sell cat food. I don't got time for this, man. Like, type in cat. Now you have like a bunch of cat photos, right? You have like a bunch of like things to work with, like, and so this is all the stock photos that you can use to get started. If you wanted to get this image onto the Canva, you basically can either drag it, right? Look at that little cutie pie, or you can click it, right? And it'll just go on there. And then, you can type in anything here. You can even type in like, I don't know, sage, right? Let me type in sage. Look at it, a bunch of sage. So it basically searches the web for stock photos that you could use within Canva. It's like your own little personal search engine there. And if you wanted to refine things by color, let's say I want an image by color, you can do that. Do you want it square? Do you want it vertical, horizontal? Is it, you wanted like the free ones, or do you want the pro versions, right? So a lot of good stuff there. Then you have elements. Elements is basically just like icons, graphic icons, or frames, or shapes, or lines, or stickers, GIFs, charts. If you want to do like a chart for your, show some data, gradients, grids, coronavirus apparently too. So, this is the area where you would go to utilize basically like non-photographic, graphics basically. The same thing, you just click, I want a line right there. You can move it around. I'll get into the functionality of like that component, but right now I'm just going to be going through just the UI, right? And then here you have your fonts. You have all different kinds of fonts here that you can utilize. If you want to start a heading, go there. You can change the font up here. Right, it's different fonts. Different sizes of the fonts, different colors of the fonts. You want them all capitalized. You want to yell, loud noises, minor noises. And then you have underline, italic, bolding, justification, right? It's just like if you're using like Microsoft Word, right? But anyways, you have different fonts here that you can use at your disposal. But let's say you want to go for a particular feel, right? You want a specific font. Like if I want to sell cat food, like I've mentioned, maybe I want it to look like it's something from the 80s, right? Right? Cat food. Yeah. So I haven't thought of a brand name yet, or you want to make it look like a video game, right? So you have like different styles to play with. Sell. That would probably work well, right? I want it to pop. So.
I also do want to mention too, like if you are thinking about partnering up with other folks to work with or whatnot on a project, or just starting a company or a business or whatnot, like Canva, I think, is like the best way to go because you all can kind of share the same things. Because a lot of the times when me and Leo are working, I don't even have to ask Leo like, hey, where's this at? All the photos, everything that we need is in there. The logos are in there, all of that stuff. So it's almost like you're sharing the same library as the person you're working with.
That's a good point, Celine. And like I said, you could also collaborate with other folks. So if you get like a pro version, for example, you can add 3 other people to your team. So if you have a girlfriend or your best friend or your cat wants to collaborate with you, you can add them on there, and they'll go on there and like see the same design, right? And they'll add to it or not. Here, so that's the text version, right? That's like the font right here where it says text. Then you have the styles, right? Let's say I don't have time to be picking all these colors, Leo. I don't got time for all that, dude. Like I gotta move. So what the styles do is that it'll give you the color palette, the font, and the font. So they don't have to dig through everything right away, right? And so once you click that, it'll give you the font with the color patterns. As you can see, yellow, black, and blue with the font of the Archivo black, right? And so if you want a particular style, let's say you want to, you know what, Leo, I don't even want to sell cat food. I want to make a fashion design magazine. No problem. There you go. You know, it's like you have the fonts there, right? Just type in Vogue and you're ready to go. Like, you know, so maybe they have the Supreme brand kit here too that I could use. But yeah, there's different styles here, right, that you could use if you don't have time to be digging through everything, right? So yeah, this is where the styles is at. And then videos, of course, you can also look for stock videos if you wanted to, right? So it's the same thing as like the photos, same thing. So not to be confused with the uploads. Uploads is for your own photos. Photos, stock photos within Canva. Videos is stock photo, right? Or the stock videos for Canva. And then you have backgrounds. You know, if you wanted to just focus on just the background before deciding like imagery or fonts, there's different styles, right? If you wanted to get all vaporwave or aesthetic, like, you know, or if you wanted to, you know, whatever your cup of tea is, right? Gradients, you want to get abstract, right? Like it's all there. And, you know, it's not limited to just this row. You can always click see all, you know, get like a bunch of gradients already, you know. If you don't know how to do gradients, you can go on here. Or if you don't have, you know, it's just to get the juices flowing, right? And so you have nature, different stuff, right? And you can also type in something if you want something more specific, right? And then you have your folders here. You can create multiple folders. I don't really use this because I just don't need to, but I should. You can have like a logo for like logos, flyers, videos, whatever you need, right? And then here you have on the More tab, I don't usually use that either, but it's good to know. Emojis, if you want to use, you know, embed your flyer. If you want a QR code, you can go on there. You know, Instagram, like logos. If you want to integrate it with Giphy or Facebook or any of these other services, you can. So anyways, anybody have any questions or any, you know, anything they want to know specifically?
Yeah, I threw a question in the chat. Have you ever heard of Adobe Spark?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Adobe Spark is cool. That's a really cool one to use if you have like, if you're on the go and you have a phone. I think it's just a phone app, right? But it does a lot of things similar like Canva, like Alicia mentioned. I don't know everything that it has to do with Spark, but I have used it. But yeah, like Canva, you could also download it on your phone and do it on the go as well. But yeah, that's a good point, Elisa. Thanks for bringing that up. If you haven't tried Adobe Spark, you know, I have it on my phone, so I'll probably use that with Canva to build out my cat food business. So
yeah, they're comparable. I tried it this year. I was like, I love Canva, but let me try this one because I don't want to subscribe to two at the same time.
right.
So I'll just make my decision at the end of the subscription period. But yeah, it's cool to see the difference between different products because sometimes your needs change.
So
And I think
I have a question.
Mhm.
So with Spark, can you do all the same things that I just went by?
you know what, it's changed a lot. So yes, and I would say Canva has a lot of benefits like the QR code integration that Spark Plus does not. And I'm sticking with Spark because I could erase backgrounds, and I really need that for certain like pictures to clean it up, kind of like my screen right now with the background. And on the go, I have less glitches, but maybe Canva got better. I'm not really sure.
So let me show you this quick trick right here. So you have this, right? Let's say I just want Sam.
Which I did not know this. So yeah,
Check this
he's
out.
gonna be showing you guys like a magic trick.
So check this out. So let's say I just want Sammy. I don't want all that background stuff. Like, go away, background. Like, I don't want to deal with you. Background remover. You don't even, and it just does it automatically. You don't even got to go through like all that other stuff, like erasing it. And voila, there you have it. I think it's called masking, but you can do that. And I just want to keep Sammy there. And you know what? I don't like him in color. I want him in monotone. Just click one of the filters here, and there you go. Makes everything really simple. So, and I hate to use Sammy as an example, but he would be mad at me. But anyway, so those are some of the functions, right? So yeah, so now I'm going into like the functions, right? It's really straightforward. So I'm going to use my logo as an example. Let's say this is too big, like this, like resizing. What you would do is you would double click, and then you can resize the amount of where you want to grab this image, right? So you don't have to just focus on that. This is good for like if you want, like sometimes you'll have overlapping images, and when you click one, it won't necessarily register. So when you do this, it hones in more specifically on the image. So you don't have to like click around just to find the right image that'll register. And then like, I don't know, I'm just gonna do some random things here, right? So let's say you have, what was it? Wet whiskers. That's what it was. Whiskers. So you have wet whiskers, right? Let's say I want this background to be black. No problem. But where my wet whiskers go? No problem. I got you. So right there, right? So the way that you do that, let me just show you again, because I think it can be confusing. So if you wanted the background to be, always pay attention to the blue lines. That just means that it's on that image, right? So right here, you'll see that there's an outline for each image. So for the background, you would click the background, you would go here, and you can pick your own color if you wanted, hex code. But for the purpose of this, I'm just going to do black, right? And sometimes, like, for example, if you lost your font, for example, just make sure you hover your mouse over it, and you'll see that it'll appear. And just double click that. It'll highlight it. So now it's on that specific font, right? So just change it to that. Right. And let's say I don't want wet whiskers in front of my logo. I don't like that. You would go to positions, hit backwards, and now it's behind the image. Now I have wet whiskers behind my logo, right? And so, right. And likewise, if I wanted the logo behind the font, go to backwards. So you would go to position. And so, yeah, with fonts, let's say, here's the cool thing about the fonts. If you have the fonts highlighted, you can go through on the left side here, or up here where it says fonts, and you'll see what the font will look like prior to clicking it, right? And so this one is just like a preview of what it would look like, right? And you can resize it this way, right? The corners, if you see like the little balls on the corner there, or if you wanted to, say wet whiskers like in one word like that, or if you wanted to just have it in the same line, you would do that. So it's really cool. And each font's, of course, different, right? There's some that are going to be bigger. If you want to get really psychedelic, you know, like wet whiskers, you know, right there. The same thing, right? You would move this around if you wanted, you know, on different lines. Another cool thing with fonts too, with Canva, is that you can manipulate the lining of that font, right? So let's say, you know, you have your center guide too there. So if you move it around, you can see like the pink lines, which will tell you it's centered. Let's say I don't like this gap between wet and whiskers. You would basically go up here where it says spacing, go to line height. See it? And then you can separate the spacing there. Or if you want the words to be more separated, you would manipulate that. You know, so that's the text portion of it, right? If you go to elements here, you can start starting to put, you know, cats and stuff around. You can change the color of some of the graphics sometimes. Let's say I want my cat to be, sometimes you can manipulate the colors of a cat, right? Specific areas. Kind of looks like my cat, sort of. So those are some, not all elements will be editable like that, but some of them, just by clicking on them, you'll see this color palette on the top. And that just tells you that you can change the colors of specific elements within that image. Right. And so anyway, so yeah, those are the basic functions of Canva, basically. Like I said, it's not too hard. If you wanted to flip this upside down, you know, you go to flip. You know, if you wanted to crop it, you know, so it's really simple. It's really straightforward. Yeah. So I think, does anybody have any questions or any concerns about, is anyone triggered? Okay. Just want to make sure that, you know, some people might be triggered by cats. I don't know. They might have had some trauma with cats. I don't know. I got bit by a dog, so I got some trauma around dogs. So but I love dogs. Okay, so if there's no more questions or any concerns or no one's triggered, let's get into our activity. Did everybody sign up for Canva? Yeah. Okay, cool. So we're gonna make a logo first. We're gonna build a logo, and that can be anything. I'm doing cat food, so you guys can take cat food. I'm doing that. We're gonna do a logo for cat food. I mean, I'm gonna do a logo for cat food. You guys are gonna make your own logo, and we're gonna build it together. Then after you get the logo, I'm gonna show you how to save it and how to incorporate it back into your graphic or flyer or whatever you want to do. So I don't know how much time we have. Okay, perfect. We have a few minutes. Yes, you can make a Polytune collective logo. That would be dope. Let's do that. All right, cool. All right, so I'm gonna start all over. All right, okay, so if you're in your Canva, log into your Canva right now. Let me know when everybody's on the Canva. Okay, everybody good? Okay, so if you're in the Canva website and you're seeing, you should be able to see this page here. You're gonna go to the search here, and you're gonna type in logo, right? And then you're gonna click logo. That's gonna redirect you to another page where it'll look like this. You can either pick a template from what's already there, or you can start with a blank. And so I'll leave that up to you. I like this one for cat food. So I'm gonna use this one for cat food. So pick your template or pick a blank canvas or whatever you choose. And then like I said, your logo doesn't have to be really complex. It doesn't have to be like super crazy. Actually, if it's the more simple, the better. Doesn't necessarily have to have like font or verbiage on it either. It can just be an image. But let's say I know we don't have enough time. do a logo, but let's do 15 minutes. Let's do a logo. Let's take time to do a logo in 15 minutes and see what we come up with. If you guys want to follow, you guys can, or you know, focus on your own browser. So so here, I'm gonna do something like wet whiskers. So you want to start off with like maybe an image or whatever you're choosing is, right? Whatever you feel like, whatever floats your boat, whatever gets your whiskers wet. So establish 2020, it's over there. And I'm gonna look for a cat image. And as you're doing this, just, you know, be sure to like color coordinate if you want. I know like when I'm doing this logo right now, I see that this color's kind of clashing with the darker color on the orange. So I want to match it with this color, right? So what I'll do is sometimes the document will register the colors that are already in the Canva there. So I can just do that. And I have my color palette. And you want to pick a color palette that's either 2 to 3 colors in your logo. It doesn't have to be like, I mean, it can be as many colors as you want, but usually the rule is 1 to 3 colors, so that you can keep consistent with your branding as you move forward. Irene picked the same cat, or apparently I picked the same cat as Irene, so I'm gonna pick a different cat. So I like this one. This one's cute. There you go.
Leo, you should put like little water droplets
Oh, that
leaving
would
them
be cool.
out.
Let's do that right now. Let's see. Drop. Wonder if they have Tamagotchis in here. I don't know if they do. But that would be cool. Looks like a gangster cat, but I'm not. He's actually crying. He's not a gangster. He's crying. He hasn't had his wet whiskers today. But let's say I want to do a border as well. You know, I'm not really too happy with this logo, so I'm going to create a border and a frame. So put a border, open border. We have a bunch to choose. And by the way, after this workshop is done, I'm going to do a raffling, right? So whatever logo or design you come up with, the winner will get 100 stickers with that die cut logo. So I'll send that to you, you know, for your business, or if you just want to just put it all over town, it's fine too. So I'm really curious. I'm going to type in Sailor Moon, see if they got that. Oh, they do got Sailor Moon. Wow. Yeah, I think Alicia brought up a good point. Feel free to put your designs in there. You can give some feedback, you know. Let's see, let's look at Alicia's. Leftism Co, is that yours, Alicia? That looks kind of cool, actually. Is it, am I looking at the right one?
I can see your screen. Yeah, Leftism Co.
I like the spacing of it, the minimalism of it. Did you mean to do that, like the circles with the line?
Actually, it's animated. So what I
Oh,
could,
you saved it as a PNG. That's why.
I
So
don't,
here, when you go
let me
to
see if I can save it as a video.
so another thing I forgot to mention, when you save, you'll go to your download, and here it'll say file type. See, so you'll have PNG. PNG is for web. So if you're doing like Instagram or website, PNG is the way to go. JPEG is for like, you know, if you want to like send it as a reference really quickly to somebody, you know, they're usually smaller. PDF standard is for like a small size PDF. PDF is for printing. So always save as PDF if you're going to print a flyer, or if you're going to print like a booklet, you want to use PDF standard or PDF print. I usually use PDF print if I'm doing like a big project. SVG is for like vector. So if you want to utilize it for like Adobe, you can save your file as a SVG and open it in Adobe, or open it in another design software. And then the MP4 video, of course, is just MP4 video, you know, so.
Can you help explain the difference between like rasterized and vectorized? I think that can really help like with the whole choice of file type.
I think vector is more, I've always thought of vector as being like print ready for like, if you're doing like a t-shirt design, or if you're doing like, it usually just it implies that the background is transparent so that you can manipulate the image and whatever you're putting it in, whether it be like on a jacket, if you're gonna do like if you're gonna get like make fake tattoos that you want to get ordered, the vector basically just focuses on the image that you want printed, and it usually it entails that the background is transparent so that you can usually, and it usually doesn't lose the quality of it, no matter how much you stretch it, right? So I don't know if that makes any sense.
It's like a shape with like a boundary. So for example, like a vinyl cutter, it needs it to be vector so it could follow the pathway.
Right, like the every time I do like, for example, like shirts for like FFSJ, or I do like swag, they always tell me to send in vector. And I think that's exactly what you just said, Alicia, about like following the outline and the pattern of it. I want to look at Irene's real quick. Oh, that one's cool. Anybody else wants to share their logo?
Let me steal the screen share for a sec. So
yeah, go for it.
So I could share the animation. I would have to find like a cool geometric still of it for the logo, but I think that would be pretty dope.
That looks cool.
I don't know about the name yet, but yeah.
Leftism. Are you left-handed, Alicia?
No, I'm we're a group of friends are probably gonna make a Polytune collective, and we're gonna be like the force that is combating all the propaganda from the right. It's just
I see what you're saying. That's kind of cool. I was gonna say you're starting the left-handers club. I'm left-handed, so I was like, can I join?
It's a lot of anti-Republican stuff. It's gonna be cool.
All right. Anybody else want to share their logo?
Oh, Leo, when you said that the winner will get the 100 stickers, is it like the draft that we finish in less than 12 minutes, or like a finished draft so we have more time.
I finished draft. I was thinking by next week, give y'all like a week. By next Friday, if you submit your, send your designs to me or Chai, and we'll put it in the raffle. Let's see. Okay, let's see what this. Let me look at Davina's. I'm gonna share Davina's. Look at Davina's. It's pretty cool. I like the color palette on that, like the gradients on it.
How'd you do that, Davina?
I just pretty much at the little elements thing, they have actually gradient kind of images. They're all kinds of like crazy shapes, and you can actually change the color of the gradients. So I just chose like purple and orange, and that's what it gave me.
Jared starting to earn business. That's pretty tight. Do you have a name for your business? The Walking Dead? Can I put a Gucci logo on my urn, like real quick? Just do it, like you said, swish. I don't know if we'll have time to do the flyer design, but yeah. So just, I mean, when you're done with your logos, whenever that is, we could do either or. We can vote for it or do random. I think random is more equitable. Look at Natalie's. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's dope. I want to get that tatted on me. Okay. That's tight. I like the font that you use too. About to take Tara out of business, aren't you? That's really cool.
There's a picture of one, but it has a watermark, so you can't really see it. You know what?
I think earlier I saw Chuck E. Cheese. Someone wrote Chuck E. Cheese rebranding. That's one of my favorite rebrands. Chuck E. Cheese. I don't know if they have Chuck E. Cheese in Wisconsin though. Do they, Jared? They do? Wow. But Chucky really fell off though. All right, is there anybody else who has a logo they want to share? If not, we got 8 more minutes, so.
Leo, I found a random picker website. So I put everybody's names in a wheel. And it looks like this. So
Cool.
we can press spin when we're ready. Just letting you know.
Right.
I didn't put my name in there. What the heck?
Hey, you didn't put my name in there. No, just kidding.
It's only fair.
Equitable, huh?
I'm not missing anyone, right? Okay.
All right, let's. You want to take it for a spin? I'd like to solve the sentence. Is it really spinning or is it glitching? Jared won. Well, I'll be dang. Look at that. Jared won.
Jared is the winner.
Wow, Jared. Your earned business is gonna come true now. You have to do your earned business now. You earn what you learn, bro. So last sleep. Oh, have you looked at? I'm gonna share Raina's first, and then I'm gonna share Jared's. Look at Raina's. Now, what kind of company is this? Is this for like a soap company?
I don't know. The design looked cool, so I was like, let me make something like that.
I like it.
There's this company that I like, 4YE, and they make stuff that like looks a lot like that. And I really like the just kind of like all on top of each other type of look.
I like it. I like the balance of it. So all the logos that I like, I'm gonna get them tatted on me. By the way, I want them tatted on me. Now let's look at Jared's now. Let's see if I really want to die at his company here. Last sleep train. That's pretty cool. I like it. Rest easy. I'm kind of just questioning, like in my head right now, if this is like trauma informed or not. Ronica, can you confirm this at all? I'm not trying to trigger anybody. I like you know what I like? I like the fade on the circle.
You said, is it trauma informed?
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure. I'm just trying to check with the judges here.
It looks, I don't know.
Yeah. We'll just say it's a vase. It has you can put flowers in it, so it's where you put your flowers to sleep. So
I wouldn't mind being made into flowers. Not gonna lie.
I want to be a flower.
Well, you know they have the trees now.
All right, so I guess Jared will be getting 100 stickers of the logo. Make sure you finalize it though, unless that's the final version. If it is, then I can order them tonight.
I wanted to share mine just for fun, but I'm on my phone, so I have no idea. Not to win anything, I just wanted to share it. But I have no idea how to do it on the phone. Okay, thank you.
You co-host, you should be able to share.
Document, screen. Let's see if it'll do its screen.
Jared, just don't forget to send me your address.
Can you see my screen?
Oh, that one's cool.
Yeah, we can see it.
Oh, let's see. There it is. 5.
Okay.
Wow.
That's cool.
Thank you.
It's almost holographic because the purple and the brown are very similar.
Because the purple and the what?
And brown, because they're very similar, almost like holographic.
Yeah, and that was the intent. because I have some other, I created, well, I know, Leo, while you were talking, I was creating a little flyer. And so on the flyer, it's the same colors as the logo.
You know what I like about it? You know what's ironic about the logo is that it plays with my senses.
Right.
So it's
So
really
this is actually a project that I'm working on, trying to
sense.
get the courage to do.
I love it.
Thank you, thank you. So I'll unshare now. Oh, technology.
I should just be like Oprah and just give everybody stickers. You get a sticker, you get a sticker.
Right.
You get a sticker. All right, cool. We have 1 minute. You show your true colors, huh, Alicia? Alt right. I see you. I would name that logo like Control Shift Alt. That would be kind of clever, huh?
That's what I was trying to get at. I just couldn't put it all together. Control Shift Alt. Okay. Yeah, I'll do that.
Cool. Okay, so it's 5:30. I think it's time to go and play with our logos more, or not. But Jared, you will be getting 100 stickers. I really want your earn. I really want you to earn what you learn. So you'll be getting your stickers. I'll order them next week. Is there anything else or any questions that anyone has?
I have just a general comment. This was a very informative and like inspiring workshop, Leo, because I always have to whip up things last minute, and just to hear the vocabulary that you were sharing, it leads me to feel more comfortable with my own crazy process of whipping up stuff. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Alicia. And for anyone who's presenting soon, just have fun with it. I really didn't know what I was gonna do. I just had like a structure in place, but just have fun with it. Try to be silly. Don't try to be. I think a lot of times people just want to have fun in these workshops. So hopefully I made it fun. Humorous for some of y'all. So yeah. But is there anything else? Is that it?
I did want to mention that you explaining your logo and how it says your name blew my mind.
Oh, thank you.
That was funny.
It also blew my mind when I was doing it. I was like, dang, that says my name. I didn't even know it was saying my name. But then I was listening to Destiny's Child when I made it. So I don't know if there is a correlation with the logo that I was making and me putting the name on it. I love that song, by the way, Say My Name. I'm about to get it on vinyl soon. Anybody else?
Would you be able to share your PowerPoint with us? Or where would you be able to put it so we can review it later?
Yeah, I'll put it in the Google Drive, right? In the artist folder. I can put it on there. And then if anybody needs the template, I have the template for that PowerPoint as well. You just change, if anybody wants to use the same PowerPoint that I used, you just change things around, but it's already laid out. You just plug and place things and save it out. In case anybody wants like a PowerPoint already made, I'm willing to share that with the rest of the crew. Yeah.
And
Anyway.
Leo, I just wanted to say, from a therapeutic place, that this is very helpful when you just struggle with things. And some people think, oh, I'm not that creative, but really it doesn't take much time or effort to even try to do something. And as you learn things that you're learning new, you get good at it and you get excited about it. And for people that are, creative people, sometimes we get in our funk. Just go to this and just remember, the things that you have planned in life and little entrepreneurial things that you have planned. And this is really exciting. Thank you.
And and I'm glad you brought that up, Ronica, because I think, the whole going back to the healing component of this workshop, being creative, right, is one component of it, but I think learning is also part of healing. And also just, creating an identity through design, I think, is a form of healing, right? Because you're creating your own identity and you're sort of making a name for yourself, right? You're taking that narrative and putting it out. So thank you for bringing that up, Veronica. I think a lot of time folks don't know where to find things or don't know where things are at. But I think once you discover something new, I think that inner child sort of lights up in you, right? That your imagination starts stirring. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
You know what, that reminded me of a comment you made earlier about perfection and how to be okay with it not being at that unattainable place, and accepting it and moving on. It's kind of like a reflection of ourselves. We could hold ourselves to such standards where we're like our worst critic and heck mean to ourselves.
Yeah, like, I think the more you create, it seems that the less harsh you become with yourself. That's what I've learned. I think the more mistakes that I've made has made me more comfortable with, being imperfect. And I think it's a lesson that for some of us, we either never learn but I think the best way to learn imperfection and be okay with it is through creativity. Definitely. Because you should read some of my poems. They're like hella whack, but I love them. I love them. I love them that they're whack. So.
And vice versa, right? You think your stuff is like hecka cool, and then someone comes along and gives you a criticism, and you're like, what? I don't concur.
Right. No, yeah, definitely. And some of the stuff that I put out, on Instagram, I'll be like, that's like a tight. That's hella dope. And then I'll like weeks later, I'll be like, well, what was that? What was that all about? I don't understand what I put out. Like, what is that? Like, why'd you even like this, Irene? Why'd you even like this, Jared? I don't like this anymore. But then you come to appreciate, like, oh, okay. It's not about whether I like it or not. It's about really if it inspired somebody or if it allowed somebody to be creative looking at the work, right? Because at the end of the day, like I said, you're not your design. So whatever you think may be ugly may be beautiful for somebody else, like my cat, I think she's gorgeous, but some people may not think she is.
I feel that with the making stuff and then like not liking it after, but other people are like, oh, this is amazing, because I like to make music and write songs.
Right.
And perform them, and people are like, wow, and I'm just like, why did I ever do that? Why did I go outside and never perform that song?
That's like it's like my singing, I can't sing very well, so that's why I put the auto-tune on, so that people, can be more pleasant for folks to listen to, but I'm the same way with music. Like, I don't know, but I think for different mediums of creativity, I think I tend to be more harsh on my music than anything else. So that's interesting that you say that, because with like design, I feel more comfortable because I don't have to put myself in the design so much. But when you're doing like music or you're doing like, movies where you're acting, it's like, I'm not the type of person that likes to listen to myself or see myself. And like this Zoom, I don't even like looking at myself, but I accept the imperfection of it, right? So, but anyways, I think that's it for today. I don't want to take up any more time from anybody, and I just hope all of you enjoyed it and got something from it. Yeah. So if there's nothing else, then I'll see you on the flip side then.
Okay, guys, I'll end the meeting now. If no more comments are coming forth. Catch the next workshop. Follow our Instagram. Appreciate you all. Have a wonderful night.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.